Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry about the little delay tonight, as Subby, believe it or not, was behind an account a little bit tonight. But want to welcome you guys. We're just going to have a small session tonight with myself, along with 417 Chaser Matt Jones. And of course, if you guys haven't, make sure you get on and listen to our latest podcast that we did last week. It was actually a great podcast. Looking forward to doing more podcasts with Matt here as we get a little bit deeper into our Midwest Meso project, which I'm very excited about. I think Matt has been working on getting together some boxes for some of the data gathering tools that we are going to actually be putting out in front of the storms. He's been working on them. At least we have somebody in our group that's a welder that can actually put things together. I don't know if I would trust somebody like Isaac with a welder in his hand or not. I don't know, but that just he's not on here to defend himself, so we can pretty much say whatever we want to say now, Matt. So we're in good shape. So there has been a little bit of talk about the threat for severe weather this weekend. So we kind of wanted to come on here, kind of show you guys. We're not going to spend a lot of time tonight, but kind of let you guys know what we have kind of in the back of our mind, what's going to happen. It's not a huge setup for the weekend, and it's not going to be a washout either. So I know I've had a lot of people contact me because I guess this weekend there's plans everywhere across the state. So everybody has things going on, so they're concerned. It's not going to be a washout, but we do have a couple chances to see some severe weather here over the next couple days. We'll go through a timeline on that as well. So what I would like to start off with, of course, is take a look at the Storm Prediction Center threat assessment for what the Storm Prediction Center is thinking as far as the severe threat for eastern Kansas, west central Missouri, southwest Missouri. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to let everybody at home see what we're doing here. And then, of course, I'll share my screen with Matt as well so he can kind of see what is happening. So basically, we have a level 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 5. That is a slight risk in the yellow that you see. And you notice that goes all the way up. It's going to encompass Henry, Johnson, Pettis, really just about all of the west central Missouri counties, at least of some sliver, with the exception of Cass County, but I think Cass County is close enough to that slight risk. We'll include them as well. And then, of course, it goes all the way down into your neck of the woods, Matt, down into Springfield, Joplin, Neosho, Branson. And then this is for Saturday. Now, let's take a look at the individual threats here where we have let's take a look at the hail threat. Now, the hail threat is not all that impressive for really any of us here in west central or southwest Missouri. The hail threat is going to be mainly situated down into southern Oklahoma, central Arkansas, down into Texas. Now, the wind threat, as always, this time of year, it seems like our wind threat goes up here in the Midwest. And, of course, that's where we're going to see likelihood of our biggest threat on Saturday is going to be for the threat of strong straight-line winds, 60 mile per hour or greater in all of this area. Now, the tornado threat is not 0, but it is very, very low for Saturday. And it is, we're talking a 2% chance here, but, even a 2% chance, you never want to count those days out. Matt's over there shaking his head. He's smiling. He knows better than that because we've had several events happen in that 2% risk time. So definitely want to keep everybody aware of that as we go into tomorrow. Now, let's take a look at, before we get into the timing, let's take a look at Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sundays. We'll take a look at the SPC here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and let's bump out of here. Let's jump over to the HRRR. Now, this is a short-term, high-resolution model. It does really, really good within 24 hours, and it typically does. There's always a surprise or two that Mother Nature can throw out, but for the most part, the HRRR has been pretty spot on within 24 hours. And we'll go in from tonight. Actually, let's go down here to composite reflectivity here. Let's go through tonight till in the morning. So we're going to have a cluster of thunderstorms. They're going to be impacting down in southwest Missouri, Springfield. I think most of west central Missouri, we're going to be on that northern fringe of this big cluster of thunderstorms. And then as it rolls through, we're going to catch some glancing blows off of that up here in west central Missouri. And then as we go into the afternoon. Now, this is where it's a little concerning for me. We're going to be underneath the cap. We do have pretty good ingredients that are out there. Now, what they were concerned about this morning was, again, for Saturday afternoon in west central and southwest Missouri. We still need to stay weather aware tomorrow afternoon. And again, we're going to be under a cap, but there have been several models that have suggested that we are getting strong thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon about this time frame, around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Saturday night. So we definitely want to keep weather aware as we go into Saturday afternoon. Matt, do you want to throw something in on for Saturday's threat?
Yeah, I really think it's going to be a conditional threat. I don't see it being a widespread for the afternoon anyway. I think we're going to get it down here. I think a lot of what our threat is going to be is it's so saturated down here. All the creeks and everything are not as they are. I think that's going to be the biggest threat. That and some wind.
But I mean, like we had that they had confirmed EF1 this morning, so they can spin up real fast. The ones we've had so far on the 2% days haven't been real strong or real long tracked, but I mean they spin up and do some damage and disappear. So I think down here that's going to be our biggest threat, is just the amount of rain that we're going to get on top of all the rain we've already got. So.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because here, that's another thing that we need to talk about too, is you guys have been hit so hard with the rainfall over the last 2 weeks. So now we're talking about flooding concerns as well. We'll take a look at the projection on rainfall totals here in just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and use this HRRR. Now, this is brand new data. It just finished up the 0Z HRRR refresh. So this is actually, I have not even seen this yet as we go into Sunday. So let's take a look. This is 2 a.m. on Sunday. Now we're getting up to 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. And then by 4 to 6 p.m., it is showing a very healthy line of thunderstorms that's going to develop somewhere around west central Missouri. Now, keep in mind, the exact location of where these storms will fire up is not real accurate, but it's going to give you a pretty good trending of where these storms are going to line up. And right now, it looks like right over west central Missouri. And again, this is Sunday between 4 and 7 p.m., and then, of course, it's going to move on down into southwest Missouri. We'll have to jump over to the NAM short term, since this is as far out as the HRRR should happen to see. Now, one thing I would like to take a look at as we get to about that 5 o'clock time frame, let's take a look at a sounding. And, it's messy. It's very, very messy. We actually, our LCL, that's our liquid condensation level, it's a little high, but that's okay. We still have plenty of CAPE, that is your convective available potential energy. That's what drives these thunderstorms, sustain them. Very high CAPE, as we got surface CAPE sitting at 3,653. We're talking big hailers. If you take a look at the temperatures right here, 85 degrees at the surface, and as you go up, you're at the freezing mark, and it goes beyond that. We're at 20 below up here, below the EL. So that's pretty much telling you that it's very, very cold air aloft. And that is a great sign that you might be getting some hailers. If you take a look at the wind shear too, wind shear is right here. So that's where the flags are. There's not a lot of wind shear here, hardly at all. All the winds are coming out of the southwest to the west, so you don't see that turning of the atmosphere. So right now, it looks like our biggest issue is going to be for very large hail as being a primary threat for us on Sunday. Taking a look at the photographs here, it's very linear, which pretty much kind of suggests that maybe a straight line wind threat as well. But as far as the tornado threat on Sunday, right now it's looking very, very low. But we'll still need to keep a close eye on Sunday. We're still, 48 hours away from this thing. So just about anything can happen within those 48 hours. If we take a look at the NAM, me and Matt was talking about this right before we went on air, and it was showing this before the ARRR came out. And we were looking at Sunday night, and again, the NAM is also showing a relatively robust line of thunderstorms coming in, again, right around that 4 to 7 p.m. time frame. Let's check out SKU-T from the NAM and see if it's showing about the same thing. It's showing about the same thing. It's very, very cold temperatures aloft. And then, of course, we have a little bit of wind shear, but it's mainly linear. So we're going to be looking, again, more straight line wind threat, very large hail. As you look down here at the sounding analogs, up to 3.25 inch hail. Now that's maximum size, keep in mind. It's not like everybody's going to be getting tennis ball size hail, but the potential is definitely there, and that's according to the NAM as it is right now. So what's your take on Sunday, Matt?
I agree pretty much with your thought on that. Is I think our main threats are going to be hail and strong wind, because like that showed that we're just not going to have all the ingredients are going to be there. We're just not going to have the shear that we need to make it more of an event than what it is. I mean, I definitely think there'll be wind and hail though, and there's still, even the line that it's showing, it still looks pretty sporadic. It
does. It does. And so, and everybody up here, and I mean, you guys have been hit too. I think we're just not used to it up here. But a lot of nerves are pretty much shot up here, because of the, mainly because of the storms that we had back on the 19th. People are still recovering right now, Matt. So it's been really tough. They don't like to see more thunderstorms heading their way, but I guess the best thing about this is the fact that it's not going to be a washout. A lot of people having plans this weekend. I think they will get through their plans fine, as long as they know that there is that potential to see some stronger storms Saturday in the afternoon. And really we're going to start to get some thunderstorms, I think, early in the morning up here in west central Missouri. I don't think there's going to be a severe threat in the morning, But I think we'll have some rain and thunderstorms in the morning, and then as we go toward that noon, 1, 2 o'clock time frame, you're going to have to make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings, watches, advisories. If you're out and about, download an app on your phone like Storm Shield or the American Red Cross Emergency app. Those are great apps that you can download that will notify you if there's any threatening weather around your area. And then I think for the most part, after we get through that, I think we'll have probably a decent evening. And then as we go into Sunday, we're going to have a beautiful day. It's going to be hot. It's going to be up there in the mid-80s until the late afternoon. And then we got to watch for that line of storms. So not a washout, but we still need to be weather aware as we go through the day. So, Matt, what kind of progress have you made on the Midwest Meso project as far as our equipment and stuff that the guys going to be using? Why don't you tell everybody what you've got going on?
Yeah, so we've got that first. I've got the big probe built, and then I've got 2 that I'll be finishing up tomorrow. So we should be able to have 3 fielded in the next 2 weeks. And then today I wasn't able to chase, but I took my probe and had it in my work truck, and so I was able to catch about an hour and a half's worth of data out of the storms that hit down here in Springfield. So I'm starting to kind of go through that and see how the equipment dealt with the weather, and because it just hung out in the back of the truck, and so I was just before now I'd put the data logger in the computer, started to upload the data, and start building a data deck. So we are moving right along.
And again, for those of you that maybe had just caught this, we are doing some ground probes with our chase teams, in which we're going to be able to gather some real-time information such as barometric pressure, wind speed, temperature, relative humidity, the dew point. We're going to be able to take real-time readings and be able to have that accessible to the National Weather Service and to the weather community to help and further the research into severe thunderstorms, not just tornadoes, but including tornadoes. But, why does some thunderstorms produce larger hail than others? I mean, there's how come we have 2 mesocyclones? They both look identical. They're both strong. One has a very healthy hail core, the other one doesn't. Though these are all questions that have perplexed the whole weather community for years, and we need that kind of data now that the funding has been cut through NOAA and National Weather Service tremendously over the last couple years. I think anything that we can do independently to be able to share with the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center, I think the better off that we are going to be, and it's going to help them out, and we can do our own research as well. Most of us that follow weather know Reed Timmer. And one thing that I thought was fascinating last year that really didn't get a whole lot of attention was the fact that he actually put some little canisters out in severe thunderstorms, and it actually sent sound impulses up into the storm. And what he was able to verify was that sonar that he sent up into the clouds, it makes a noise. He could tell the size of the hail by the noise that was going up there in the cloud. So, and obviously if you got small hailstones, hitting against each other, it's going to sound different than 2 softballs hitting against each other. So he was able to differentiate that and be able to use that in research, in which maybe we can get some warnings out ahead of these storms a little bit quicker. If we know, we're going to have baseball-sized hail coming into a town in 15 minutes, let's get the warning out to them, So fascinating research that is being done, and we're just trying to do our part with Midwest Meso Project and be able to help the weather community out as well. So, and of course, Catherine Brock, she's in the chat tonight. She's also her and Kevin. They're both storm chasers in and
I said they
around.
got to have some fun.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Yeah.
They're here all the time. So
Yeah.
great couple. They go out and do that. They it seems like every time I'm following our chasers, Catherine is, hey, Subby, I think one of your chasers are right next to me. You know, it seems like we go wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. But I do know the chasers have been working very hard here over the last 3 weeks since we've had a little bit of a break to get their streams looking good. I know Team Havoc, he's been doing a fantastic job. He's the new team. He's the newbie.
Yeah.
And so you know
But he's hungry. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah,
He's-
yeah, and
yeah.
he's definitely going. We're also, we had a discussion about our drones. We're utilizing drone technology as well with 417 chasers and as well as Nader boys. So we were talking about that. I love that aspect of it, using drone technology. And I think that's probably one of the most fascinating tools that we can use to be able to see what's going on above the tree levels. You know, I love that aspect.
Have you seen some of Project Otis?
Yes, I posted it
10
on
minutes.
Subby's Weather Talk. We seen it. We actually met with them at the Storm Chaser Summit in Kansas this last winter. And that was, they showed the video for the first time of them flying a drone inside of a tornado. And what was so cool, maybe next time we get together, we'll show that video. But that drone goes inside of the tornado and then rotates the camera 180 degrees down. And you saw perfect clear sky all the way down through the center of that funnel down to the ground. It was awesome. And they caught that big tornado just here over the last couple of days down in Texas. Very dusty storm. Picked up a whole bunch of debris and dust, and they flew the drone right in the middle of that. It was incredible. You can see that on Subby's Weather Talk on our Facebook page. That was awesome. So, but yeah, Catherine said next time you guys are in the area, I'm going to have to be the mediator. You guys are going to have to meet them. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure we get that done. But yeah, a lot of cool things coming down to Hatch. I'm very excited. And another thing, we've got Jeff Smith up there in Northeast Kansas, and doggone it, it started off like fire up there in Northeast Kansas, and they're the ones getting all the action. And it just seemed like here about the last 4 or 5 storm systems, it's all down here to us. So don't worry, Jeff. I mean, I'm already starting to see signs that the jet stream is beginning to retreat back up to the north as we head into that summertime pattern. And that's the reason why everybody up in Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Canada, they're getting excited now, because they're about 3 to 4 weeks away from their severe storm season as that jet stream retreats back up to the north and we get that influx of warm, moist air coming from the Gulf. And that's our typical summertime pattern. Our tornado potential goes way down here, typically, historically, between the 15th and the 25th of June is when our tornado season is. It's not done. We can have tornadoes in every month of the year, and we've had tornadoes in every month of the year. However, the typical tornado season really kind of winds down as we go into around the 3rd week of June. But we still have a few more storm systems. We still have to get through. The LRC Weather 2020, we are still showing a system coming in, I think, right around the middle of the month, the 12th through the 15th, that we're going to have to watch for the potential of severe storms, and then we'll have to see what happens after that. So you got anything else you'd like to add tonight, Matt?
No, I mean, it's just we're plugging through storm season, We're getting a break here before too long. I mean, I think everybody's kind of, we all enjoy it, but it's just like, like a week with being able to mow the grass would be awesome.
Yeah. I know, and I know, everybody gets antsy. I get, after having a week of active weather, and I'm getting 2 hours of sleep between the storm. I do that for 3, 4, 5 days in a row. I'm drinking coffee by the gallons, and I'm wired. I'm fired up, ready to go. And then you go right after that into a withdrawal for the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going on. Light
Yeah.
rain showers. And I just feel like I lost my pet dog. Just like, what do I do? But, I think everybody feels that same way, especially after you guys spent so much time and energy getting all of your probes ready, getting your vehicles ready. We're ready for a non-damaging, very picture-worthy storm system so we can get out and get these guys a little bit of experience.
I will say, stay tuned for 2026. Because we're gonna have all winter to get reared and ready, and I mean,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. We've got so many cool things that are we have working right now, and a couple of big ones that even Matt here don't even know about yet. So hoping to be able to bring that to everybody here over the next few weeks. But and again, we've got some very exciting things coming down the line for this year and for 2026. I think we're all very excited. Catherine, she said Tuesday she thinks gave her gray hair. So what was Tuesday? I'm trying to think. All my days are like running together now, Matt. Help me out, Catherine.
Like, which storm was that? Where was that at?
Where'd she go?
Was that Kansas City?
Yes, that was Kansas City.
Yep,
that was
EF
Kansas
unknown
City.
And the 1 or a 0 and an unknown.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's something else that I found I understand why they did it. Somebody mentioned in a post, I think it was on Subby's Weather Talk, that was once it passed the Truman Sports Complex and was heading into Independence, they classified that as a PDS warning. Now, it was going into a very populated area, which I know. It was running right along 24 Highway. It was going from Independence over to Buckner. And there was a couple times where it did look big in the photos. But, that thing only ended up being
a lot of condensation.
Yeah, it really was, because it ended up only being based on damage in EF1. We had EF1 down here in Henry County and Benton County and St. Clair County. It can do a lot of damage. I've seen it. But a PDS tornado warning, I had a couple people message, so why would they put that a PDS tornado warning? And I think the main reason why they did, because it looked
Population.
big, and the population, we're talking a million people underneath that warning. So I think that's the reason. If anybody is wondering, well, why was that a PDS warning? It's the population size. If it's going in, if you recall the Tuscaloosa, Alabama tornado, and
Which one?
that was a PDS warning as well, but it was also a strong EF3, almost EF4 tornado going into a college town, coming into a big populated area, so of course that's a PDS warning, and then it actually went to the highest level of warning that they have, and that's a tornado emergency.
Yeah, Tori. Yep.
Yep. And but I think it was the right call. I think they spend. So this was a fascinating fact. So when I was talking to Jonathan, the National Weather Service in Pleasant Hill, the National Weather Service, a big chunk of their budget, they spend on sociologists. And those are the ones that go and they know how people think. They know how people react under stress. they have to put wording in their warnings so that people will heed those warnings. So between the psychologists and the sociologists, they combine that and they come up with warning phrases. And if you notice here over the last 6-7 years, they have changed that wording in the warnings quite a bit. They don't sugarcoat it no more. They said that this is very dangerous. If you are caught out in this, you may die. I mean, that's pretty much point blank what these things say. And so they spend so much money trying to get the wording right, just to where people will. And now that PDS, particularly dangerous situation, is pretty common now out there in the weather community and to the public. They're going to do that during in populated areas where there could be a tornado, or obviously if there is a large destructive tornado, EF3 or larger, heading into a town, they're going to call that a PDS tornado warning as well. But
well, and they kind of need to, because I mean, having lived in Missouri my whole life, is like you hear the sirens, you hear this, and it's just like it's common where. If it's really an issue that needs to sound different, where it's like, hey, this is real.
Well, and
I agree with that completely.
I do too. And if you're like me, where I go live during these severe events, and I'm constantly reading, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, and you're reading the same thing. Go to the lowest portion of your house, away from windows. Go to your basement. Put a pillow over your head. I mean, people, they hear that over and over and over again, and but what those psychologists and those sociologists are going to have to do, they're going to have to work on a little bit of overtime, because I've talked, matter of fact, the latest one was yesterday. There was a guy, I had a little car trouble. Had a gentleman come over to my house, or come over to where my car was stranded at. He had to give it a tow. And of course, I've known him for a while. And, of course, everybody kind of knows Subby around this area. And he comes out, he goes, "Hey, Subby." And I said, "Boy, that was a heck of a storm that came in on 19th, wasn't it?" And so we live down in Lowry City. And he goes, "Yep." So we got everybody down in cover. And me and the youngest, we went out on the front porch to watch it. And I said, "What are you doing?" And true Missourian right there. You get the wife and you get the wife and the kids and get them undercover, and then him and the youngest boy, they go out on the front porch, sit down, and watch it come in. I'm just like, man.
I mean, I can't say much. I get in my car and drive straight at it. So.
Well, yeah, but you chasers are a special breed out there too.
Yeah,
so
I know.
We're all.
But,
I'll never forget when I was doing. Very first time ever was last year when we was under a tornado warning, and as soon as I found out that a first responder was about a mile down the road and seen the funnel cloud moving in, it's right by my house. And I told everybody, I said, "You know what? I love you, but I'm heading for the basement." That's the first time I ever went into the basement. But man, that was close. That was close. So you guys would have put your helmets on, got in your car, and drove toward it. So anyway, I guess that's the difference between us a little bit.
Yeah.
But, So, hey, Greg, good to see you on here. So, Catherine. Their house is in Buckner. So that tornado came down 24, from Chief Stadium down to Independence and right down 24 toward Buckner. It stayed just north of Buckner, but I do know they did have some damage there. So I'll be darned. I didn't know that's where she was at. Yeah, I'd say some of her hair did turn a little gray. Oh, gosh. But so listen, before we get out of here, just and of course I always do this. We talk about this all the time. These storm chasers cost a lot of money for them. I'm going to throw up everybody out there. We've got Team Havoc, Nader Boy, Storm Chaser Jeff Smith, 417 Chaser. There's their Venmo, their PayPal. I encourage you guys to jump on there. Whether it's $1, $2, doesn't make any difference. Buy them a cup of coffee. Lord knows they need coffee when they're out. Feel free. I'll leave that up just another minute here so you guys can write it down or screenshot it. I'm sure these boys would love anything you guys might want to get out there to them. And I'd say probably we probably have close to a week off before we'll probably meet again after this weekend. I think next week, man, the farmers are going to love it. We're going to have the wind start picking up next week. We're going to have sunshine in the 80s all week next week. And then we have another storm system set to come in for next weekend. So we're going to at least get the farmers a few days to be able to give it a couple days to dry out. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they can hit the fields and get some field work done. I know they're itching to get out there as well. So at least being a weather guy, I can get them a little bit of dry weather, get them off my back for a little while. But all right, well, I think that's all we got. Just a reminder, guys. Starting tomorrow, we do have that level 2 out of 5 slight risk for our area. I'll put it back up there for everybody at home to see. And again, that's going to really include all of West Central Missouri. So make sure everybody, this is likely going to be in the morning. We're going to wake up probably to a few thunderstorms in and around West Central Missouri. Down in Matt's area, down in Springfield, they're going to be keeping a pretty good close eye on this cluster of storms moving in. Joplin, Neosho, Springfield, Branson area. Some of those things could be a little mean in the morning. And then we have another chance as we go into Saturday afternoon around 1, 2 o'clock. Very scattered, not a washout. We don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So let's take a quick look here also while we have it. Let's just jump over to the hazard for Sunday. And as you guys can see, I'll blow this up just a little bit so you can see it. And again, it's going to encompass really the southern zones of West Central Missouri, Benton County, St. Clair, Vernon, and then all of southwest Missouri, southeast Missouri will be under the gun. Again, that level 2 out of 5 for that slight risk of seeing a severe thunderstorm around your area. So we're just going to have to remain weather aware through the weekend. Don't cancel your plans. I don't think it's going to be enough where everybody's going to have to cancel their plans, but just remain weather aware. And of course, you're going to be able to keep up with all the updates on 417 Storm Chaser on Facebook, as well as Subby's Weather Talk on Facebook, 95.3 KDKD Facebook page, Radford Media Group. I am the lead meteorologist for KDKD and Radford Media Group, which I'm very blessed to be part of. Helped me get word and information out to everybody on different platforms. And I know Isaac and Levy over at Nader Boys, they're going to be following it. Team Havoc's going to be following it. So there's no excuse for anybody not knowing what's going on this weekend. And of course, if we get any severe weather come up tomorrow or Sunday, I'm going to be right here at the Weather Center, and I'm going to be going live, and we'll be tracking these storms together, utilizing the chaser feeds. We're in constant communication with them as well, sending reports to the National Weather Service. So full weekend ahead for us. You guys do not cancel your plans, just remain weather aware. So all right, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you all for joining in this roundtable. And I know I can speak for Matt and myself. We appreciate all the support you guys give us for all of the groups. And feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions going forward. Otherwise, stay weather aware. And we'll be talking to you all soon.